All right, it's here. This is Peplink's new 5G HD1 Dome, and this is a direct replacement for many RV and marine kind of low-end internet solutions that a lot of customers have been kind of fighting with since they got their setup. Come along with us and we're going to tell you all about it. This thing's awesome. All right, so while I get this out of the box, I'll kind of give you a summary of some of the challenges that we've seen. Our 2021 Integra motor coach came with a WineGuard Connect 2.0 system I wouldn't call it a bad system. It just wasn't providing reliable internet and certainly wasn't something that had a very capable cellular modem in it. Category 4 modem that, had one of the primary bands for each carrier, maybe two, that was about it. So really low end from a speed and connectivity perspective. But that's really common in the OEM space. The manufacturers are trying to get a lot of features packed into that RV at an economical price, and not everybody needs the high-end stuff, so I get it. But for me and for my travels, that was definitely something that I was looking to replace. Now, the WineGuard units that I specifically mentioned, the Connect 2.0, and also the Wi-Fi Ranger units have an Ethernet cable up to the roof that's already pre-wired. Basically, a Cat 5e, maybe it's a Cat 6, doesn't really matter for these types of applications, but it's your standard Ethernet cable that's running up to the roof and outside. And this new product allows you to utilize that existing wire that's going to be really useful for a lot of folks that don't want to drill new holes in their roof. If you're looking at a large purchase like this for mobile internet or for anything at MobileMustHave.com, make sure you check out our Mobile Must Have Insider program. That gives you exclusive discounts to hardware like this. And when you're looking at a solution like this, the membership fee will typically be paid for and then some, quite a bit, through the discounts you get as part of your membership. You get upgraded 2-day shipping, you get $10 off any data plan per month on our website. You get multi-data plan discounts in addition to that. So if you have 2 data plans, it saves you up to $40 a month with the membership. You get access to the Mobile Internet Resource Center, which is, if you're kind of new to this, it's the place to go if you have questions about all things mobile internet, latest data plans, all that stuff. It's all included in that membership. So make sure you check that out at membership.mobilemusthave.com, where there's a whole list of benefits. So now that we've got everything unpacked, I know we cover a lot of different things on this channel because honestly, Peplink makes different products for just about every single use case. I want to kind of dial this down and explain really who this is best used for and why. Now, the Peplink Dome series has been around for a while, and its claim to fame here, kind of what makes it really unique, is that the cellular router and the antennas are integrated into this dome here. And by having very short cables from the modem up to the antennas here, you're going to have better signal performance typically because you don't have loss in that long cable. That also means that coming down from the roof, you have the benefit of a single Ethernet cable coming down from the roof, which makes things a lot easier to wire. Now, if you follow this channel for a while, you may have heard me talk about the fact that I'm very weary of companies that put the router up on the roof. And that's because the vast majority of them that I see use very kind of low quality components, and they have a very, very high failure rate. Typically, a very common thing we see is that the antenna ports that they install on some of the units that have like a clear top, I think folks might know what I'm talking about, the rubber literally just snaps off and water gets into it. Or just they didn't build the components with a high enough quality spec to sustain the elements and specifically the amount of heat that hits this device. I've had one of these domes installed on one of 2 of my RVs for years, 3+ years. The thing is bulletproof. It doesn't even turn colors. It's such high quality manufacturing components in here. And that is reflected somewhat in the price. But Again, you're getting all of the benefits of having this device up on the roof, so you have your router integrated very close to your 4x4 MIMO cellular antennas, and allowing you to have that one single output. But those higher quality components means you're going to have a lot less likelihood of experiencing a component failure. Okay, so we've put this outside, we've got easier cable access. What else makes it different, Eric, besides just that it's 5G? Okay, so one of my biggest complaints about previous generation HD domes is that they didn't have Wi-Fi. All they had was cellular. So once you got down into the RV, you had to add secondary access points, and that meant additional cost and additional complexity in terms of how to configure it all, as well as how to wire it all together. It was just more confusing for folks. So we talked to Peplink over the last year and we said, guys, can you please integrate Wi-Fi into this device? And they've delivered. So now we have Wi-Fi 6 technology integrated inside the dome. So we've got our 4 cellular antennas, and then we've also got 2 Wi-Fi antennas that will broadcast 2 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz for your local devices in your marine application or in your RV. Those Wi-Fi chips in there can also play double duty and can pick up public Wi-Fi using a technology called Wi-Fi as WAN that we talk a lot about on this channel, allowing you to pick up marina or campground Wi-Fi or any public Wi-Fi that has access and use that as one of the inbound internet sources. Sticking with the marine applications for a second, a lot of our marine customers, when they start to look at some of our bundles, are like, how am I going to run these 6 or 7 cables up to an antenna deck or up a mast? Like, how am I going to get all this stuff up there? And this is really where this comes into play. Peplink actually designed the original HD Dome products for the marine space. You have the ability to go 300 plus feet from this device using that single category 6 cable to the network switch or the PoE switch that's going to power this device. So that means one single cable raised all the way up to the top of that mast or to your antenna deck from this device is going to give you that connectivity, both on the Wi-Fi WAN side and on the cellular side, all with that one cable. Going back to kind of how you would do a direct OEM replacement on a setup that existed inside of an existing RV that had Ethernet up to the roof. You'd essentially be mounting this up on the roof and plugging the Ethernet cable in using all the supplied hardware. That's pretty straightforward. Now that Ethernet cable is going to route somewhere inside of the cabin or possibly in the lower kind of what I call basement area where you'll find another device. This is actually the one that came out of my RV. Little kind of generic basic router with a wireless access point. And inside of here, you're going to see the cable that's going up to the roof. You're going to take out this device and you're going to replace it with the PoE switch that's going to provide power to this device. From there, you can integrate this setup as you've wired it to also fully integrate with any factory installed systems. Like for me, I had a Vega Touch system that allows me to control, kind of see the status of my RV, turn on my inverters, control my shades, turn the lights on and off, all sorts of stuff. And that didn't work particularly well with the factory setup, but now that I've upgraded to a solution like this, it's working flawlessly. As you can kind of see right here on my phone, I've got my total RV systems, everything that I would access available to me. And my RV right now is parked about 300 miles away because my dad borrowed it for the weekend. So I have total access with the green connection status there. Now, if you're interested in understanding how to set that up, that's not something we will teach you how to do as part of your purchase, but don't worry, we've got you covered. Check out those memberships at membership.mobilemusthave.com. Inside there, we've got a webinar series where Chris and Cherie and I have actually gone through a bunch of different webinars, and we have covered the topics associated with how to get a system that was already installed in your vehicle to work with an upgraded internet solution so that you can be connected all the time. Peplink has given you a plethora of accessories here with this device. It's pretty cool, and it's a lot because of the various different use cases they've got going on. So in one scenario, if you're going way up on a mast, or you want a deck, or you've got a standard kind of your 1-inch marine mount, kind of standard mount, there is an optional mount accessory here that will go straight down into a deck mount, or you can use an existing deck mount, and their bracket will go from this metric threaded connection down to your standard marine mount, and you can run your wire straight through that if you've got existing mounts. That doesn't mean you necessarily need to buy anything extra if you're looking at this, but if you're in a marine specific application, that optional accessory, which I'll put down below, may be of interest to you because of an existing setup in terms of how your wires are operating. What this guy here does is this is basically a 2-port switch. So this gives you an additional LAN port up by this antenna if necessary. Some folks may want to add in an additional wireless access point at a secondary location, or maybe they're jumping over to a different device. So you're getting that additional WAN port with this unit. So this will accept Ethernet and power to power up the device via PoE, and then it will also pass through PoE out on the LAN 2 ports. All of the ports here are included with waterproof connectors, and you have all of the various accessories to take existing category 5 and 6 cables and run them in, and then tighten them down with cable grommets to keep the elements out. Once you've got this lower device secured, this optional mount here will connect directly to the device, giving you an optional surface mount that would operate just like this. Now, this mount also has the ability to be mounted this way, meaning that it does support pole mount applications. I would not recommend that for the RV and marine space typically, because it is going to give the antenna a directional bias by being mounted at an angle like that, but it is technically supported and it is possible. Typically where we see that is when it's being mounted to the side of a building, where they know exactly where their cell tower is, and they've got a building behind them. So they're like, look, this has to be just pointed in that direction. It is a supported configuration, and in testing it does work quite well. But by default, best performance is to mount it in the vertical position. So here is the optional SIM injector. Now, you do not need a SIM injector for this device to operate, especially if you're just looking for basic internet. If you pick up a high gigabyte cellular data plan, that's kind of hard to get from the carriers directly, but you can pick one up from MobileMustHave.com. Just go onto the internet page and click on cellular data plans in our main menu. You'll see a bunch of options there, or they're listed also on the router pages. Plans for just about any carrier. You can pick up one of those data plans and you can just pop it right into this device. We'll show you in a minute where that occurs, but there are a couple screws here. Looks like 6 of them, and this just pops right off, and there are 2 SIM card slots that you can select from directly in the device. So you could load this up with, say, your primary data plan being, let's say it's T-Mobile, one of our high gigabyte plans, or Verizon or whatever. And then you can put in a blank SIM in the second slot so that it's there if you need it without you having to go up to the roof, or a pre-activated one, and then you can switch between the 2 carriers right out of this device. So you're getting dual SIM slots in the device without any additional SIM injector. But the SIM injector gives you 8 more SIMs. So that gives you a total of 10 SIM cards that you have access to through this device. So the SIM injector here, which is optional, as you can see here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 SIM card slots. These are full-size 2FF SIM card slots, so be careful if you do pick one of these up. Do not put small nano SIMs into here. You then have 4 Ethernet ports or LAN ports that are available here as well, and these are all PoE out. These supply the PoE 48 voltage to power this device, and it could technically power more than one dome if you were interested in it. Meaning you could plug 4 domes into this, and then, 3 domes into this, and then uplink the 4th port to a command center router like an MBX or something like that that had support for that many WAN sources. So that is very doable. But for the average customer, we're going to basically be saying this goes into here and that powers the device from a LAN perspective. And then you've got a couple extra ports inside of your setup for local devices like desktop computers or whatnot. If security cameras, all sorts of things that can run on PoE. And if your device doesn't need PoE, this will automatically turn off power. It will not damage a non-PoE device. Now this device will support DC power input, but it's 56 volt DC power in order to enable the PoE. So a lot of people are like, how do I get 56 volt DC? The answer is our DC power converter, which is exclusive to MobileMustHave.com. This is an option as well. And this is included, all of this is included in our new bundle called the Globetrotter bundle, which is coming out very soon. So what this will do is you can wire those two up to your house batteries, and then these two out here will output 56 volts. So this will take 12 volts up to 56 volts. Boom, now you've got PoE for your devices, and your remote SIM injector is powered up so that you can not have to go up and mess with this when you want to swap out SIM cards. Going over quickly just what's in the box really quick. We've got our HD Dome mobile router. We have our little 2-port switch. We have our surface mount / wall mount adapter that comes included. We have our washer and locking nut that will lock the dome into place if you're going to be using this in a flat mounted application in like kind of an automotive roof or something. You typically wouldn't use that if you're using any of these other brackets, but they do include it, which is nice. You've got your 2 weatherproof cable grommets for your category 5 or 6 Ethernet ports that are right here, or Ethernet cables, I should say, that are right there. You've got U-bolts for a pole mount adapter. You've got mollies and wood screws for if you're going to drill this into the side of a building. Nice touch. You've got some cable management branded stuff just to make you part of the Peplink family. And then you've got your associated screws for mounting up all of the accessories that you see here. All comes in the box. The HD Dome 1 5G also includes the AP controller for controlling secondary access points. That's a nice touch if you're looking at a larger implementation, or you're in a situation where the Wi-Fi that's in this antenna is going to be a little bit too far from your clients to broadcast effectively. Like a large antenna, large mast on a sailboat could be potentially an issue where if you're so high up, the clients that are down below deck, like your laptops and whatnot, may not pick up the signal. Not to worry, this includes the wireless AP controller. So you can pick up, I would recommend typically the AP-AX Lite access point to pair with this really nicely. That way you have broadcasting Wi-Fi from down below. Now that's not to say you're not going to continue to use the wireless up in the device itself, because you still can use that wireless as WAN technology to pick up your Marina Wi-Fi from up here. And if you're ever away from your setup, this will broadcast much further distances from up high for access to your Wi-Fi from kind of the dock area or the campground area if you're doing this in an RV application. Thank you guys so much for watching our overview video of the HD1 Dome Pro video. Sorry I didn't say that earlier on. It is the Pro designation. I just call it the 5G, but technically the official title is the Pro. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out to us. You can hop over to MobileMustHave.com and start up a chat. You can email us at info@MobileMustHave.com, or if you're interested in speaking to one of our experts, you can start up a chat or an email and simply request a call back. We will schedule one with you so you can get on the phone with an expert to answer all of your questions. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the road.